Hello and welcome to this Prepare for IELTS speaking video. My name's Rebecca and in this video I'm going to go through some Part 1 questions and answers on the topic of picnics. In these videos I go through language that's useful for the topic, but it's also useful for other topics, and it might be language that comes up in the listening and reading test, and sometimes there is language that you can use in writing. So although this is a Part 1 video, it can be useful for other parts of the test. So it's not just about memorising the answers, it's about improving and expanding your vocabulary for your English in general and hopefully to help you with the IELTS test. So let's take a look at some questions and answers. Did you go on a picnic when you were a child? From time to time, yeah, we used to go on picnics. We tended to go on bank holidays when the sun was shining and my parents wanted to get us out of the house instead of watching TV 24/7. Very useful phrase for IELTS speaking, from time to time, meaning occasionally, every so often, from time to time. Remember to use used to in IELTS speaking. It's something that's very simple to use, you just use used to plus the verb, but a lot of candidates forget to use it. We used to go on picnics. The verb to tend to is also very useful. As a native speaker of English, I use it all the time. Instead of saying usually, we tended to go. This is like saying we usually went. We tended to go on bank holidays. In the UK, we call public holidays, such as Christmas Day, a bank holiday because it's a day when the banks are closed. You can use bank holidays or you can say public holidays. And to expand my grammatical range, I'm using when the sun was shining because this is past continuous and it really impresses the IELTS examiner because it's very complex, when the sun was shining. So just learn that phrase and try to get it in your IELTS test at some point. Another useful thing for grammar, instead of plus verb plus ing, instead of doing, instead of having, instead of eating, instead of watching TV 24/7. 24/7 is an informal way of saying all day. It's like 24 hours out of 7 days a week, and we use it to mean all day, all the time. How often do you go on a picnic now? It's not something I do on a regular basis. I guess at most I go twice a year. Rather than having a picnic, I often buy some food and go and eat it in a park to get some fresh air. It's kind of like a picnic, but an impromptu one. On a regular basis, good for writing and speaking, and it means regularly. At most, so probably only go at most. This is the maximum number of times I go twice a year. Rather than having, this is like saying instead of having, rather than having, and they both are followed by a verb in the ing form, rather than having, to get some fresh air. And this means to go outside. I often say I'm going to get some fresh air, and it just means I'm going outside for a bit. Impromptu, very useful word, can be used in writing because it's formal, but we use it in speaking a lot. If something is impromptu, it's unplanned. So you just say, it's a nice day, I'm going to go and sit outside and have my lunch. It's impromptu, it's unplanned. Where do you go on a picnic? There's a stunningly beautiful park just round the corner from where I work, so I tend to go there in my lunch break. Whereas if I'm not working, I go to the beach or somewhere a bit further afield. Try not to use just simple adjectives like nice, good, stunningly beautiful, much more complex. I tend to go. Like I said, I tend to use this verb a lot. I tend to go. I usually go. Lunch break, lunchtime. Whereas If I'm not working, some present continuous, because IELTS examiners love hearing continuous tenses because we use them a lot in English. However, often in other languages you don't use them as much. So when a non-native speaker uses them, it sounds good and it sounds impressive. A bit further afield. Further afield just means further away. So I tend to go somewhere further away, a bit further afield. And finally, what is the difference between a picnic and cooking at home? Picnic food tends to be finger food, such as wraps or pizza, whereas when you're eating at home, it might be a meal with a knife and fork or chopsticks. Picnic food is generally cold, in contrast to a home-cooked hot meal. Finger food, obviously, food you eat with your fingers, and we talk about things like sandwiches, wraps, pizza. This is finger food. Wraps, as you can see in the image, there is a wrap and you put meat, lettuce, salad, vegetables, cheese, whatever you like in there and roll it up, and we call it a wrap. Picnic food is generally cold. It's usually cold. In contrast to, I've gone a bit formal here, but I've used the word whereas many times, so I want to say something different. In contrast to. So I want to say something different in contrast to a home-cooked hot meal. I hope you found this video useful. I'll put a PDF of the model answer on our website. Try and learn some language. Even if you learn 4 or 5 phrases each day, it's expanding your vocabulary and improving your English. If you're studying, if you're preparing for IELTS, there is a reason for doing this. You need English for a reason, maybe to study abroad or live abroad. So make sure, even if you've passed your IELTS and got the grade you require, keep studying because it will be useful for you in the future. Thank you very much for watching and take care.